across the hopefully you've had that experience across the campus with administrators, with faculty, with everybody. You guys are kind of the reason we're here, and that's why we've been over backwards. So I appreciate the kind words, and it makes me want to do it again. Okay, where were we? We were here. Let's back out of here. I apologize for all the goofiness with the wait list and having to deal with the running back and forth. I appreciate your guys' patience with that. Next in line is assessment. This is the part that's, I think, the most confusing, so let's take our time and go through this. So I will assess you with a minimum of 16 things this term. And there really isn't a maximum number that I can tell you about right now. And let me explain why I can't give you a maximum number. Good, I'm seeing furrowed brows, that's good. That should sound weird. Usually people come in and they say, you will have 10 quizzes, and you will have 3 labs. You will have 4 exams. And that's kind of like, then check, I'm doing them. So, you will have quizzes, projects, and exams. They're listed down here, you can't really see them. There was a great question from, tell me your name again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Emily. She has a little simulator on her phone to run the TI-83, and she asked a great question, can I use that on an exam? And my response is, of course. And I think I said something cryptic. Even if you took your exams in class, I'd let you use it on your exams. And then some of you may have thought, what the hell is he talking about? Even if you gave your exams in class. None of these assessments are done in class. They are done outside of class and turned in on their due dates. And when I say turned in, they're submitted via Blackboard. More on that in a second. That's the new twist. I haven't used Blackboard before. That's a bit of a new twist. So this quiz, these quizzes, for example. Did you remember on the schedule page how there were quizzes? They're all red. One of them was hyperlinked. There was one. Let's back out to the schedule page real quick. So there's a quiz due in Wednesday. I'm not going to click on it just now. We'll click on it later because it doesn't make sense to click on it right now. But as far as that quiz, it's linked now. Your job is to do it at some point between now and the start of class on Wednesday, and then submit it via Blackboard to me. Have you guys submitted stuff via Blackboard before? Yeah. Have you ever uploaded a document to Blackboard? That's how you'll be doing it in this class. I only use Blackboard for submissions of documents. You won't be using it for anything else. I personally can't stand Blackboard. No offense, IT department. I don't like it. I don't like locking things behind passwords. I like things being open. I like having the schedule page wide open because that way people from France can send me notes saying, hey dude, thanks so much for your lesson on margin of error. It helped my students. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's in English. He's like, that's okay. I can translate. I'm like, oh, that's right. You're French. You're smarter than we are. But I don't like having things in Blackboard because nobody finds them that way. So the only reason I have Blackboard set up is so you guys can submit stuff to me. That's it. It basically acts as an FTP server, rather than having you send random emails to me with stuff attached to them, which doesn't work. I've tried that in the past. That make sense? So you'll download the documents, and I've got some submission guidelines. We'll get into those momentarily. There's a quiz due, like I said, on Wednesday. There is a quiz due, but not linked yet. I'm going to make this quiz either tomorrow or Wednesday morning. Next week, there's a quiz right there. Notice? There's a quiz down here. Every week, there'll be at least one quiz hyperlinked. Okay? Your job, before the end of the term, is to do at least 10 of them. Where is that? Here it is. At least 10 quizzes. You have to do a minimum of 10. You can do as many as you want. I want to talk about that momentarily also. So it's kind of like a choose your own adventure. If there's a certain topic that you can't stand, I can't stand margin of error. Okay. You'll have it on the exam, you'll have to do the exam question on it. But if you don't want to do more questions on it, you don't have to do the margin of error quizzes because you can pick up those quizzes somewhere else. If you can't stand logic, oh God, it's okay. If you don't want to do the logic quizzes, then just do more quizzes early on, later on, you can skip the logic quizzes. There are going to be a bunch, like I said, the out-of-class quizzes, those ones that are linked on the schedule page, there are only 10 right now listed, one each week, one through week 10. There'll be more. I'm thinking of at least 2, maybe even 3 linked for next week. Some students knock out 10 quizzes in the first 5 weeks and then just stop doing quizzes. I want to talk about why that isn't always the best strategy momentarily. I'll get into that momentarily. But, so does that make sense? You have to do how many? 10. Okay, they're 10 points a pop. They're 10 points a pop. They're kind of like your homework, if you think of it like that. They're kind of like your homework. The minimum of 10 would represent, let me do the math in my head real quick. 100. That's 25% of your grade overall. 25% of your grade of those quizzes. Now, it might change that percentage depending on how many that you do. If you do more, it'll be a larger percentage of your overall great. That'll make more sense in about 5 minutes as we get, I know, furrowed brows, this is not making a whole lot of sense right now. But as we go through, it'll make more sense. Please.
Is it like, okay, what am I trying to say? Is it like one quiz is just 10 points if you do it or you don't?
It's 10 points broken down. If you see right here,
oh, okay.
There are little points on all my assessments, projects, quizzes, and exams. Little points, 4 points here, 2 points there, 2 points here. And you accumulate those points. The quizzes add up to 10, the projects to 25, the exams to 100. Does that make sense? Great question, great question. But yeah, it's not an all or none. Oh God, no. No, I like to break them down so that way you can mess up one question theoretically and still get the rest of them correct. The reason I make them not all mandatory is because I'm trying to protect you guys as students. If there's a topic you just don't enjoy doing, I'd rather give you the option of not doing even more of it via the quizzes. I want you to do some, and every once in a blue moon I might make a mandatory quiz. I haven't decided about that yet. I've got a couple for my stat classes, but I haven't decided about this class. Nothing's hit me that's like, they have to do this quiz. So right now, they're all theoretically optional, including the one for Wednesday.
So the 10 includes in-class and out-of-class?
Yes, I haven't even talked about the in-class ones yet, but that's, yes. There are also occasionally going to be in-class quizzes. I just started doing these in the past couple terms, where I have an idea that I'd like to guide you through. I mentioned the bike thing, where you guys are going to time me going down the hill and figure out how fast I'm going on my bike, using a little bit of calculus, which is actually pretty exciting. Hopefully it's exciting, not terrifying. There's an in-class quiz that walks you through that. That will count as one of your 10 quizzes. Now that obviously won't be submitted via Blackboard, because you'll be doing it in class on pieces of paper. So that's old school, you hand that in to me when you're done. And then I take that back and grade it and put it in the grade book. Is that fair? So thank you, and tell me your name one more time.
Christina.
Christina, thank you. And there's Christy, and there's, see I forgot, there's, wait,
She's Christina.
this is Christina, Christina, and Sumi. Everybody else I forgot. No, Josh, got Josh. There's a second Josh, Josh. What was I just talking about before that? Oh, in-class quizzes, yes, thank you, ADD. So those are the only exception to the Blackboard rule. You'll do those in class. I'm going to try to shoot for at least one of those a week too. I'd like to get at least one. I can't guarantee them at least one a week just because I don't know the pacing of the class yet. But I like to plan for as many of those as possible because it gets you guys engaged. It gets you guys doing. I've already got one for the first main topic, which is grade. I like to make an equation boot camp one, which we can start doing on Wednesday even. So there might be a second quiz on Wednesday, including the one you'll submit via Blackboard. So there is a bit of interest there. You've got the out-of-class quizzes submitted via Blackboard, and you've got the in-class potentials submitted just in-class in paper. You don't have to worry about those. I bring them with me. The other ones you'll click on the schedule page, open up, do however you want to do them. I talk more about that later. You can either handwrite and scan, handwrite and take a clear cell phone picture, and upload that to Blackboard. That works great. I actually did a music contract that way. It freaked me out because so many of my prof friends won't accept cell phone pictures of assessments. And then we were talking to MTV, licensing one of our songs. They're like, we can't find a skin. They're like, dude, take a picture and send it. Like, you can't do that. Wait, you can? And I'm like, I realized if it's good enough for MTV, it's probably going to be okay for you guys to submit too. Not that MTV is like the level of sophistication we're shooting for, but nonetheless, it's a big business with billions of revenues, so I think we can probably make that work too. So anyway, we'll get back to that. So that out of class anything submitted via Blackboard, in class old school paper, working together, most likely working together, sharing technology. See, that's why I don't care. I want you guys to, if you will, cheat. I want you to share ideas. I want you to work together. I love it when I see 3 or 4 people working together on an idea. As long as you're not submitting one thing for all 4 people, you're all submitting your individual stuff. You all have a Blackboard account. Did anybody get into it today? Did anybody crack into it this morning? It became live today, apparently, to you guys, so I guess I don't know if anybody's checked it out yet. Anyway, that's quizzes. You may have noticed there are extra resource problems I've posted for every topic. You may have noticed that earlier. I'll back out to it again. I mentioned that up here. But in the schedule page, Math 105 extra practice? Yeah. So here are our topics. Grade, linear modeling, quadratic modeling, exponential modeling, randomness, probability introduction, expectation, internal logic, and gear ratios. I thought of these this summer. I was pretty excited about them. I got into a discussion with a dude about mountain biking, and I realized, I'm like, wow, I wonder if everybody thinks like that. And if they do, let's talk about gear ratios. So these 2 things, and this was trying to explain to somebody how to do Google searches more efficiently. And I realized that ties back to just get basic logic. Oh, that's kind of a cool Math 105 topic, maybe. So anyway, time permitting, we'll get into these as well. You see these topics, grade, linear modeling, and so forth, and so on and so forth. I'm going to start the equation bootcamp idea. It won't really be a topic in so much as a review to kind of collect what you guys already know and put it in one place. But then starting with these other topics, when you click on this grade, for example, you'll get a document. Nothing to do with the Larson textbook. But what you've got is basically, if you will, a section of a textbook that I've made up, including Nicolas Cage. Okay? And believe it or not, the reason these topics exist is because I found ways to use them in life. And when I think of that, I think to myself, I was making a flyer for a show. That can't be just a random occurrence. Okay? Not everybody makes flyers for shows, but a lot of you do art projects with your kids, maybe, or with your colleagues, or for yourself. Maybe the same mathematics involved in that would also be, in this, would also be involved with what you need it for. So that's where these ideas come from. They're not in a textbook, they're in the Sean textbook. This is the Sean, if you will, the Sean textbook. When I'm doing my hill repeat workouts, I'm thinking, oh my God, this seems steep. Wait, what does steep mean? I rode up Io Street about 6 months ago, and I'm like, holy crap, my heart almost exploded. Let's turn around, put a GoPro on the bike, video camera it down, and have Math 105 analyze it. That's the kind of stuff. Why did they close Io Street in the winter? Let's mathematically discuss why they would close Io Street in the winter. That's what this whole topic kind of was born out of. So if you need practice to do grade assessments, here's a whole buttload of them. A whole boatload. I say buttload or boatload, either one. They're both mathematical terms. I call them E for extra, E1, E2, E3, E4, and so forth. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll see solutions for each one. Down here somewhere. There they are, E answers, ba-boom. And they're all worked for you. Eventually, I'd like to make video recordings of the solutions and get those up on YouTube as well. That's going to take more time than I got right now. But you've got them all worked. They're all worked solution-wise here. So if you need extra practice, here's your extra practice. But the quizzes are what you're submitting for points. Does that make sense? So in other words, your brain has to process what you're turning in quizzes as turning in your homework. Hopefully that makes sense. I bring this back to when I took drum lessons, 8,000 eons ago. My drum teacher would send me home with all kinds of stuff to practice. I'd sit in my basement and practice. Then I'd come back the next week. Would he make me play all of it again? No. He'd pick random little bits out. That's what the quizzes represent. Little bits of all this stuff pulled out and put into a concise format. And if you can do the little random bits, chances are you can do all the individual bits, especially if you have enough time and resources to do them. What resources can you use to do the quizzes? Can you go on Google? Yes. Can you Google search anything you want? Can you share technology with friends, as long as you submit your own stuff? Yes. Can you sit in the library and study groups and work together? Please do. Please do. Submit your own work. But work together. Don't become... You ever see the movie Flatliners? 80s movie? Yeah. Flatliners. There's a scene in there that breaks my heart. It's a lab scene at the very, very beginning, and I think they have to do an autopsy on a cadaver. And the prof walks in, I'm going to make up the numbers because I've forgotten them now, but the prof walks in and says, on this exam there will be 1 A, 3 Bs, 5 Cs, 3 Ds, and 1 F. You remember that scene? It's something, I'm paraphrasing it, but something like that. So what does that do to the students? What does that mean the students have to do?
Compete.
It demoralizes them because they have to compete with each other. Because then only one person can get an A, everybody else is fighting for second place, third place, fourth place, and so forth. That's awful. That separates students from working together. I want you guys to work together. Don't you work together at your jobs? I'm guessing you probably have to, at least in part, working together, becoming symbiotic. If you guys play music, or if you work in outdoor industries and things like that, in Bend, you have to work together. I mean, plays well with others. One of the first lessons they teach us in kindergarten. Play well with others, yes? Yes. Okay. Sorry, got a little soapboxy there. Apologies. All the sections have these. All the sections have these, except these. I haven't made these up yet because they're relatively new ideas. We'll see if we get to them. If we get to them, I'll definitely get sections there too, as well as tie-ins to Larson's if I need to. So those are the extra practice. Use those to help you do the quizzes, or the projects, or the exams. Okay? Everything's there. Of course, you can always email me so I can point you to other stuff. Make sense? You can ignore the 243 and 244 unless you really don't want to. All right, so back up to this. Oh, here's a little bit of data for us to play with. Let's see if it loads. It will. Good. I mentioned we talk about data today.